So first off, I actually want to thank Pilar and Ramon because they've been so amazing these past, well, yesterday and today, and they actually didn't know they were going to be emceeing until yesterday morning. So give a warm applause for them as well. So as Pilar said, partially my full name is Paul Verbeek-Mast, but you don't have to remember that. I work at a company called Sprunk in Utrecht, and well, as you said, I do the Frontiers conference that was last week, and I also organize a meetup called NL HTML5. So if you're ever in Amsterdam, just maybe come to one of those. And I'm also one of the makers of Agony. If you want to look at it, it's just an npm package Agony. It's amazing. Sorry. Okay. Done with that. So my talk today is about, well, localization, about calendars, and about how everything is weird with times, and even more weird than you might have guessed. So I was working at Booking.com when I created this talk, basically, and there is like 42 different languages Booking.com has. So I had to create a calendar for all those different languages. Not in Klingon, sadly, but I tried to convince them, and they said, well, A/B tests, there's no one really doing Klingon, so. First off, I want to tell you a little bit what my talk is not going to be about. It's not going to be about everything that you can find in a blog post called Falsehoods Programmers Believe About Time. There's like this whole list of everything that programmers apparently believe about time. It's also not going to be about everything that's on more falsehoods programmers believe about time. I haven't seen a third one yet, but there's probably also going to be an even more falsehoods program. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. Because I read those blog posts and I thought, I know everything. I know all the things about time. I'm like amazing time person now, but then I came at Booking.com and I figured out that I didn't know anything about dates and times and just that list. And so, as I said, I was working at Booking.com, and we have this portal for all our customers, and they asked, okay, we need a new calendar because for our hotel owners, because basically what they had was a long infinite scroll list of all the days with their reservations on it, and they said, you might need a real calendar. Yeah, so this is all the languages we had. They said, just try to get at least all 42 of them. So what I did, well, we did some user research to figure out where our problems were, and we wanted to have a new calendar, so we started out like a little bit of sketching, and we had something like this, which was from another. It was very the same as one of the other, like where you rent apartments, which I will not say the name, but it kind of sounds like Airbnb. But so I created some sketches, and we had some cool front-end technologies which I used, and some less cool back-end technologies that we integrated. And that was it. Yeah, there was our calendar. And then after that, I thought, well, let's start with the localization. So I'm not going to talk about translating all the words because we had a whole team to translate everything. So that was I just put the words in the system, and they were like, okay, here you go. Yes. But there's some obvious things that you might know, like. If you're from the US, this is not the calendar that you want to see. It's more like this, like it shifts to Sunday, and the date here shifts to month, day, year format, and there's probably dollars instead of euros as well. Those are very known, but there's also a lot of work to get it right, but very known things. But luckily, I didn't have to do all those things myself because Moment.js is like a great, awesome library that uses all the things, that knows all the things about, well, it says here, parse, validate, and display dates, and there's localization parts for that as well. And if you like the immutable data structures Anjana was talking about, you're gonna not love this because it's mutable fun. It's like everything you do is like muting the dates, and it's very complex. But if you don't like that, there's also JS, Joda, and date functions, which are immutable things, which I now like better than when I started out with Moment. And there's also the ECMAScript Temporal proposal, which sounds awesome. Not sure if it's going to be awesome, but it's going to implement like all the things that date functions and Moment already have, and trying to be less crappy try to be a less crappy date object. Okay, so before I get into the weirdest things about dates, I just want to show you a little bit how Moment works, just so you can get a feeling about what problems it also can cause. So first off, I had to initialize this calendar. So I needed to know, like there's supposed to be day names, like Monday, Tuesday. So I needed to know which day the week would start. So I can just get like moment.local data the first day of week. Then you get a 0 or a 1, which means Sunday or Monday. Sometimes you get a 6 because there's some cultures that start the week on Saturday. So just if you just don't check for 0 or 1, just check for everything. And then I can just get the short versions of the day names, and I'll just add them to the calendar like that. And then I need to know what day the first day of the month would be. So this one. Sorry, just a little bit water. Because in most cases, it's not like the first day of the month. It's like a few days before that. So I just say, get a new moment object, and then I say start of month, start of week, and then I get the date, which is the number of the day number. And I add it there, and then just find the last day of the week, and just fill out everything. And then for the two date inputs, I need to get the local version of the date format, and I just get this long date format, and you'll get like slashes or dashes or whatever it's using. And so that's basically the calendar I created. And there's, of course, a bunch of more stuff going on, but I don't want to bore you with that. So the next step for me was testing. So I'm not talking about unit testing. If you want to know about unit testing at Booking.com, just give me a few beers and I will rant about it all night. No, this is more manual testing. So like fixing browser bugs and trying to ship it to production. And then the first thing I always know that I forget is RTL, which stands for right to left. There's like a lot of problems with right to left languages, and I was speaking a few months ago at a conference. They had their printer made a little mistake. So this here says calendar, and this here doesn't say calendar. So what happened here is that they had like the text had like letter spacing, so it kind of made this, and then it also turned around. So these are the kind of things that you have to make sure that are going right. Browsers do most of those stuff by themselves, but also if you're doing print, then it's a little problem sometimes, and it happens. But for my calendar, the first thing that you want to do is like shift everything around. Like everything that's on the left side, you want to go have it on the right side, and vice versa. So just move things around, and then move some more stuff around. So it's just going to be, everything's going to be the other way around. So the first would be on the top right. And then don't forget that the left thing is going to go to the next month instead of the previous month. Also had a problem with that, people complaining, I don't know how this works, I'm not getting to the right month. And yeah, that was my problem. And then, of course, the signs of the euros also shift to the other side. So everything is just going to the right, which basically you can do with CSS. You can just find out if the direction is RTL. So more testing. So after RTL implementation, we just put a bunch of our users in our beta program and then just ask for feedback. So I was hoping that they will all say how awesome it was. So I got some of these. I think this was like all of the good comments. So it's just like they're loving the new interface. It looks a lot like some website is a part of Kalender, and they love that because it's kind of similar. There are also some less positive reviews, like, I hate this, bring the old one back. I didn't figure out why. And who made this smiling chocolate ice cream? This could also maybe a good positive review, I don't know. But these are kind of useless. These were like more interesting. They were kind of giving me bug reports. Not real bug reports, apparently, because this is all they're saying. Oh, the reservation not showing up. Okay. Great. Okay, let's just look in the data I had, and then I realized that I forgot to like save all the data for the reviews. The reviews I got, I only saved the user ID, so it was like good. I made a lot of mistakes making this calendar, so. But at least I got a user ID, so I could kind of figure out what their problems could be. So then it's up to bug fixing. So as I said, they're not giving a lot of description in it, so I just have to like dive deep into their users, what they see, so I have to figure out what languages they're using and all those things. So the first thing, I want to go through these for it because they were like the most interesting bugs that I found. And the first thing was like reservations aren't showing up. So I opened like the calendar and we had some reservations on it, and for me it was all just showing up, it was just fine. And then a coworker just tried to help me fixing the bug because I couldn't figure out what the real problem was. And he opened his and he saw like there was just this one reservation there. It was just not showing up for some reason. So we tried to figure out what the real problem was. And then this one thing that we saw is that this user was from Brazil. And there's a funny thing about Brazil. They have a Wikipedia page about time in Brazil. So we both set our time zones to Brazil, and still mine was just still great. It was just working. And I said, well, it works on my machine, and just walked off. And he goes, no, it's still broken on my machine. So get ready for a live debug demo time. Yes. Okay, let's hope this works because it wasn't working this morning. Okay, so, oh, great. Let's just try this for a moment. Where do we go? Oh, there it is. This is interesting. Okay, everything is fine. Great. Maybe, I can just look like this. So well, the first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to go to date and time preferences. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Okay. Why does, oh, of course, never mind. Sorry about this. Okay, there it is. So I opened my date and time preferences, and I thought, I'm just, like, unlock this for a moment. There's a lot of problems with testing time zones and everything, but this on Apple it's good that you can just try this and then. So, oh wait, click this here. So I thought Brazil, and then just refresh here. Everything is still fine. That was not what I wanted. And then my coworker did the same thing, so we just kind of made the same steps, and he was, no, it's broken. So it changed time zones, breaks. So, okay. So we looked really closely what we actually did, and where it is. The problem is that I clicked on this little thing here, and he clicked on, I think, here. Yeah, I think actually it was that I had this one and he had this one. And as you can see, the time zone there beneath it is Brasilia Standard Time and Brasilia Summertime. Because most of the cities above Brasilia, they don't adhere to summertime. So I change it to that, refresh the page, yes. And the funny thing is, this would only work today. Yes, yes. Okay, so let's say we're going back to the system. Let's say it was not today, but let's say it was oh, sorry. Yesterday? Okay, let's save that. That's because summertime is like today in Brazil, so that's just a coincidence. But it was a hard time figuring that one out because like we're going through all the logging, and then at one point we saw that we had the time zone offset was like just an hour difference, and so that was the reason why only one reservation was gone, because it happened during the shift between summertime and standard time. And yes, so that was a lot of fun. And I'll show you how I fixed this. This took me about, like, I think, 2 weeks to figure out what the real problem was with it. Oh wait, I have to change it, otherwise things will break. Okay, change it back. Let's see, where is my mouse now? There is my mouse. So I'll show you what the real problem. Yay! So this piece of code was the problem. So it was like comparing two different dates. So it says day 1, day A, start of day, add 1 day, and it's the same as day B, which add 1 day doesn't add 1 day apparently. A moment's bug. It adds 24 hours. So if you say add 1 day, then it's not exactly the same, because a day in the future, like 24 hours in the future, would be not 1 day ahead, but 2 days ahead. So, and it was like a very easy fix. I just switched this and it was just add 1 day and then say start of day. That was basically all I had to do, like 3 weeks of debugging and changing to, well, 1 line of code, basically. So, yeah. Fun with dates, yay. Okay, why are closed dates red? So I'll show you what that means. So we have like all these open dates and like reservations, and when they want to close a date for the people cannot reserve on this date, we made this, like they cross it out, it's red. And people were asking, why is it red? I don't understand, why is this red? And we noticed that all those people asking that, they came from Eastern Asia. Is this a good day at the stock market? Yes. It's a very good day at the stock market, because in Eastern Asia, apparently, red is positive and green is negative for some cultures. So they will, I don't get it. Why would you make my close days red? Just make it green or something. So there was a lot of talking with our localization team, because I wasn't even in the localization team, so I had to figure this one out with their team. This is kind of like, this is very short, not really a bug, but it's more like localization is not only about dates and times, and there's a lot of cultural differences, also how calendars work. There's even a lot of different calendars, which I will not go into now, but this is like one of the major things that you have to watch out which color to use. Sometimes, yeah, like using yellow is also not very good in some countries, and just make sure that you do a lot of Wikipedia research about colors. Okay, so the next one, the date selection is not working. So we had like the from and to, if you clicked on it, there was this jQuery UI pop-up coming up. Why jQuery UI date picker? Because we already used jQuery UI and I was lazy and I thought, let's just add it there. Being lazy is never a good idea. Also a good life lesson. So what was happening here? Like, did they say that they didn't even see the whole pop-up coming up? There was like errors. So say that you have this date, and you grab it for a moment, like you want to know the format, because, well, you have to put the same format into jQuery UI as well. You just get this long date format, and then you say, okay, parse this date like this in jQuery UI. That doesn't work like that. Because jQuery UI is quirky, and they have their own version of date formats. They don't adhere to anything. They have their own thing. And I knew that already, so I made a fun little script that converted to jQuery UI. And so it was already working for all the other calendars. But there was like some countries that it didn't work. I just couldn't figure it out. And then at one point I saw that it was this little part, like a sort of regex to see if there's a hyphen or a slash in it. Well, probably, I think it's Germany where it wasn't working as well, because I forgot the dot, and sometimes it's... So, okay, a hyphen, a slash, or a dot. I'll just... Okay, it was... I then saw that it was not just a hyphen, a slash, or a dot. There's also weird characters sometimes in between, so I just changed it to any non-word character. So it was working for a short while. There was this one, well, a couple of users from Slovenian, I think it's pronounced. As I said, I didn't gather a lot of data, so I got this back, and I couldn't really figure out, well, I had to figure out which language that actually was, so I do what all people do. They just put it in Google Translate and say, okay, it says Slovenian detected, fine. It's probably Slovenian. But did you mean that? Wait, what? There's So, Slovenian, no. Because I was trying to figure out, well, I changed the language to that, and I thought, no, it's still working for me. So that's Slovak, not Slovenian. Because Google just thought that I meant that they thought it was Slovenian. They detected it. They were just wrong, and it was fun because this was actually the problem. They had a dot and a space. So, well, just add a plus and any one or more. Just if you add anything in between, it's gonna be fine. I hope it's still fine. I haven't checked it again, but it seems to be running fine. I'm not working there anymore. And there's the weird thing, the prices aren't showing properly. I don't know what they mean with properly, but so we also had like this little price for the day, and it was like, it's not showing very well. And, okay, well, it shows up at my computer very well in euros. So let's just see what you have. Okay, you have this. Is that 25 euros? Okay. So they just saw this and they said, it's not 800,000 rupiah, it's like this. They just overflow hidden and... yes. I fixed that in a very elegant way. I just made the text smaller and I hope it's working. When my ex-coworkers are seeing this talk, they were like, oh, that you did that. Yes, it's broken again. So, yeah, like lots of fun with dates, times, and all the other localization issues. I don't want to bore you with any other things. So there's a lot of other things that I just, that were just breaking constantly. And I can go on like another 2 hours or so, but just come up to me if you want to know even more about it. So I'm just going to make a conclusion, which some people it's Paul's thought leadering time. So bear with me a little bit. Do not make any assumptions. Like if you read like blog posts, I know everything about time. It's not true. You don't know anything about time. You did not invent time. Neither did I. So there's always going to be something wrong. The calendar is probably still broken in some languages which I forgot about or just didn't test well, or there's like very edge cases like Antarctic time or something, which I didn't try. And localization is also not just translation. It's way more than that. Also not just about date and time. It's cultural differences. It's also not trying to piss off people with colors is also a very good thing. Like, there's some sort of, I think it was like ochre yellow, which is like in some countries stands for death, and you don't want like closing dates, make it ochre yellow, and they say, how did you know that? Don't want to do that. Gather meaningful feedback. There was like a lesson I learned the hard way. Just getting user IDs takes a lot of time to figure out what's all going wrong. Luckily, we have like a huge database, so we can get something back. But you have really try to get meaningful feedback from your users. They will not write a full big bug report, so just make sure that you save all their very private information. And bugs will happen, and that's okay. Bugs will always happen. It's like probably this keynote I'm using has bugs which I haven't found, but it will always happen. But bug fixing is kind of like being a cool detective, like just trying to find out every small little detail about what you're trying to work on, and it's sometimes pretty awesome if you think of it like that, instead of just, oh no, it's just another user complaining about something I do not care about. Just try to care about it. They're your users. They're also trying to just use your product. Yes, so that's about it. You cannot find me on that. I forgot to change my slides. It's Paul_V_M. That's my new Twitter handle. Sorry. This is for my meetup group. You can also just write me an email, because I love getting emails. And this is my ICQ number. Thank you very much. And before I leave, I just want to say one more thing. On February 3rd, there's going to be a Global Diversity CFP Day. So if you ever want to be on stage like me and everyone else, like all around the world, there are going to be awesome events. So you can be just like me and Martin, having fun up on stage. Thank you.